Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Adam Mathews, and every single month at Mathews Counseling, we try to bring you resources around a different topic, something that has to do with your mental, behavioral, or emotional or relational health. And it's April, it is finally spring, and it is, you can't tell because I'm wearing a sweatshirt because I'm cold in my house, but it is actually spring, and we are talking all this month specifically about healing through nature and reconnecting through natural means and how much that can bring to us. And today we are talking with one of our fabulous interns, Catherine. Catherine, hi, welcome.
Hello.
And we are talking about this idea of how we get into routines, work pressure, constant stimulation from so many different sources, and how much that can disconnect us from people and from ourselves. And Catherine, there is a lot of demands on our time, especially in 2026. There's a lot of things that are competing for our attention. There's a lot of things, a lot of information that is thrown at us all the time, and we can get lost in routine and demands. And so I'm interested in why you think that it is so hard, particularly in the world we live in now, to really just slow down, to check in with ourselves, to connect. Like, tell me about kind of that problem that exists, that we didn't ever even really ask for. We just find ourselves in, right?
Yeah, and I feel like everyone's kind of having conversations around this because it's so universal. The idea of like the attention economy, this idea that everything around you demands, right, time attention, whether it be you're working really hard, right, 9 to 5, or maybe other work hours, trying to like put food on the table, take care of maybe animals that you have, see family, maybe
Yeah.
see friends. I mean, there's so many things that we could fill our time with. It's almost like too many things in a way. And I know
Yeah.
social media, like it's really easy to get lost in what we're viewing or what we're consuming.
Yeah.
And there's so many competing forces, so many competing things for our attention. I know a lot of people, including myself at times, feel pretty disconnected, pretty exhausted. Like, oh, I just got back from work. I have an hour or two to myself. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's no time at all. And I'm really
Yeah.
exhausted, right? So
It seems
it
like
is
it seems
so
like we're
true.
competing, like we're racing toward just that small amount of time that we get to be with ourselves. And I think like it's hard because we want there to be we want that connection, that all the things that come with the work and the pace, but then we also crave that kind of time where we don't have anything competing for our attention or demanding our time. And there are a lot of ways that that disconnects us from ourselves, right? And
Mm.
I'm interested in kind of where you think we participate unwillingly in that cycle, right?
Yeah, and I think depending on kind of what grabs people's attention most, maybe it's work related, like maybe your work requires you to work really, really long hours and you get home and you're like, "Oh my God, I don't have any space to think or about me, or maybe I don't want to think about me because I have to get
Yeah.
up early and do it all again." And
Yes.
maybe it's like the social media and the phone. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way at times. I just scrolled for 3 hours and maybe I'm hungry and I didn't even like realize I was hungry, right? So like there's so many ways. It's just
Yeah.
easier to function when we're disconnected because there's so many things to
Yes.
do.
Yeah. It's that thing where it is great that we live in a modern society. There's so many things that it brings us, but at the same time, it brings us so many opportunities to do something that there's something we could be entertained, we could be busy, we could be going out, we have access to so many different things that oftentimes we can overload ourselves and not even recognize that is happening. And I know like there's that idea that it disconnects us from ourselves, right? And talk about the problem of that. Like, why is that such a big problem when it starts to disconnect us from ourselves?
Yeah, exactly what you said around. we don't even realize it. I think that's one of the biggest issues when it comes to
Mm,
disconnection, because whether it be our emotions, maybe it's like chronic stress in the body, when we're like consistently disconnected from ourselves and our needs, we can run ourselves into the ground sometimes. We can
yeah.
do things that are hurting us and not even realize it. I
Yes.
think the biggest thing around like chronic disease, but I know that's an extreme. On a smaller level, maybe at the end of the week, you're so emotionally burnt out that all you do is sleep, or you hang out with your partner and you're like, I'm really mad right now. And it's not at you, and I just can't stop being mad. It's that
Yeah.
overload, it's the emotion
Yes.
sitting there because we don't get any time to process.
Yeah, I think what you just said is hitting on it is that when we don't have that time, when we are constantly moving, when we're constantly like having those inputs, those like even again, like social media is the easiest one to go to, right?
Yeah.
Because it's such the thing of our time. But the when we're constantly having inputs into our brain, it's there's never rest there. Like that really doesn't allow us to process what we're feeling, what we're thinking. And you mentioned disease too, and that constant rundown when we're not even our doesn't allow our physical body to process, right? We are more susceptible to colds, to flu, to just feeling just all the things that go around, right? Our immune system is lowered, and right, our mental health is we can't process through the emotions that we're feeling, right? And so it does create a problem there. And it like you mentioned a couple times, but what are the things that you really see with people when that's happening? What's happening to them? What are the symptoms of kind of like that being run down, being overwhelmed, not having any space, like just that constant go?
Yeah, I see with some of my clients, I see this kind of at the end of the week when we meet, it's like, the space is, I'm going to dump everything here and I feel so drained after.
Yeah.
Or, I'll ask, hey, what do you want to talk about? And they'd be like, I don't even remember the week. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they've never
Yeah.
even had a chance to slow down and
Yeah.
think about the past couple days, which is oddly normal, right?
Yeah.
And just this exhaustion, like this, more than anything, inability to focus, right? Tired energy, just you just having to go this pace and recognizing that it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about to me what you're describing is overwhelm, right?
Yeah,
It's just
overwhelmed.
emotional overwhelm, and we can either pour into it, right? Like it overwhelms us, and then everything starts coming out, or we just get numb to it, right? Like that numbing thing that happens. So how do we begin to undo all of this, right? How does like how do we begin to reconnect with ourselves? But even in the conflicts, there's a lot of demands on our time that feel really necessary and really urgent. So how do you talk to somebody about beginning to reconnect with themselves?
Yeah. And there are so many different ways, but the one that I think is probably the most manageable to start doing is, taking 5, 10 minutes and trying to slow down in the tiniest of pockets. One way that I
Mm,
suggest, because it's getting warmer, because it's nice
yeah,
out, is to take a walk, is to go outside. Because it's pretty accessible, like just leaving the constraints of if you work from home or your office, like leaving the
yeah,
physical space where you're stressed or disconnected and allowing your body to move, to walk a little, to get some fresh air. Even if it's
mm,
5, 10 minutes, I think starting really small is a feasible way to break up whatever routine's been overwhelming.
yeah. I think that's really good. I think there's like that idea of small pockets of time because when we try to do like big grand gestures where I'm going to take a whole day to myself every single week, like that typically doesn't work because we are trying to make it super big. But when we talk about small little actionable steps, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, right? Like typically that feels a little more doable. And that I think what that does is really gets us into a routine, right? Like it's our mind thinking that way. It gets us looking for those little pockets of time to slow down. I'm a big fan of 10-minute meditations, right?
Yeah.
Or 5-minute meditations. Like there's lots of like YouTube videos you can use here. There's lots of like meditation guides, even if you, or just by yourself, but just any kind of thing that really just starts to slow you down. And then you mentioned going outside. I want to like really zero in there because we are talking about, springtime, like all like being outside. What does nature do for us in that sense? In this sense of trying to reconnect us to ourselves? What does just being outside do?
Yeah, nature it's interesting because in a way, right, we're relearning our connection to, I guess, where we first originally came from. Like we've altered our world in so many ways, but
Yeah.
if we think about it like that, that's always been our first home. And I think on a biological level, even, right, it's really allowing our body to breathe and take a second, whether it be birds chirping, fresh air, sunlight. We see
Mm.
time and time again as research comes out that in all these different ways, it's actually allowing our body to turn off the stress response, to slow
Yes.
down. So it's just an additional support of like you already want to slow down, and going outside allows your body to decompress even more.
Yeah, it lowers our cortisol like very
Mhm.
quickly and allows that stress hormone that is pressing on us to it has a physical effect on us that is super important. What does it do when we're able to do that? When we're able to reconnect with ourselves, I really want to hammer home like why this is so important. Like what are we able to do? What starts to be the benefit of being able to kind of reconnect with ourselves, particularly in the ways that we've been talking about?
Yeah, I think that, the biggest benefits are that you have capacity and ability to choose, right? I
Mm.
think that one of the biggest issues is when we get in these routines and trying to accomplish A, B, C, D, E, we feel like we don't really have a choice, right? Everything's so
Ah,
competing. We just
yes.
gotta keep it pushing, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And reconnecting to ourselves in nature, being able to slow down, have some silence, think, get time to yourself to think. I think it gives us an opportunity to choose. Hey, what do I need right now? What can I put aside? What's top priority? But also, can I just be present in this moment and enjoy? I feel like I have some time back to myself. So I think it allows for capacity to bring more joy and presence and me time, right? When there should be a lot more me time that we have. So
Yeah.
I think it just allows for us to build more intentionality.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really important. I think that we oftentimes don't think about the benefit of feeling like we were able to choose, right? Or that we have that we are constructing our lives rather than our lives being constructed for us, and how empowering that is, how that keeps things from feeling like the difference between something feeling like an obligation or a chore and something feeling like
Mhm.
a choice that we're making, even if we're choosing it like I'm choosing to go to work today because I get to provide for my family, or I'm choosing to spend time with my kid, as opposed to having to spend time with my kid, or I'm choosing to go out to drinks with my friends because I enjoy that rather than feeling like I'm going to miss out or I can't choose, and having that choice between I could stay home, I could be with myself, but I'm choosing to do these things. There's so much power in that, and so much where that does take away some of that stress, um, that feeling of obligation, that feeling of my life is just happening to me, and that's really good. So I always ask at the end of these, like, what's one thing you want people to take away from our conversation? If you could just say, what's the one thing you would want them to know?
Yeah. Even if you are not a nature lover, right? Even if you don't want to get your hands in the dirt, that's okay. There is some benefit to sunlight, fresh air, trees, right? Go outside, find something that you like to do. It can be whatever works best for you and your schedule, but I highly recommend it. You will not regret it. It's important to be outside, especially with the nicer weather.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you so much for taking time. If you need more help with this, if you are just feeling super overwhelmed or you're feeling super numb and you go like, you're getting outside and like there's still something not right, or you need to even just stop processing how to create space for yourself or how to have more choice, how to be more empowered in your life. We have amazing therapists and therapist interns like Catherine that are available to you. If you go to mathewscounseling.net, you can see all the options that we have. And we'd love to be able to help and support you. You can request an appointment right from our website. Catherine, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.